critical ingredient is getting off your butt and doing something. It is as simple as that. A lot of people have ideas, but there are few who decided to do something about them now, not tomorrow, not next week, but today. The true entrepreneur is a doer, not a dreamer. Hello and namaste everyone. I am Apeksha Ghimire, social media manager at Halt Price at IOE. Firstly, I want to welcome each of you present here. Welcome everyone to Halt Prize 8 IOE 2021 workshop on the topic Entrepreneurship Talk Series Level 3 Starting a Venture, supported by technical partner NREN. Halt Prize, known as Nobel Prize for Student, is an annual year-long competition that crowdsources ideas from MBA and college students after challenging them to solve pressing social issues around topics such as food security, water access, energy, and education. It is also the world's biggest student-centered event and a crowdsourcing platform which was started in Nepal from TU and KU in 2016. It is back in Nepal to find student prodigies on the theme Food for Good. It aims to take place in Nepal by mid-December. We have Halt Prize team member with us. We have Mr. Zekishan Panjiar as our campus director. Mr. Vivek Malik is our deputy campus director. Mr. Sagar Shrestha is our correspondent. Ms. Anisha Adhikari is our media manager. Mr. Biplab Karki is a partnership and outreach manager. Mr. Angel Vishwakarma is a graphics manager. Ms. Suprema Shrestha is a public relation manager. Mr. Nikhil Aryal is a technical manager. Mr. Vishal Bashal is a marketing manager. Ms. Tunisha Gawali is a sponsorship manager. And Ms. Devaka Bhattrai is a event manager. And they are our passionate core team of Halt Prize 8 IOE. And likely campus representative from each college are Mr. Robin Ghimire from Himalaya College of Engineering, Mr. Navin Joshi from Advanced College of Engineering and Management, Ms. Sivani Karna from Lalitpur Engineering College, Ms. Nivedika Pokhrel from Kantipur Engineering College, Dhapakhel, Ms. Dharti Shrestha from Katpur International College of Engineering and Management, Mr. Saugat Pandey from Thapathali Engineering Campus, Mr. Prajwal Adhikari from Chitwan Engineering Campus, and Ms. Megha Maske from Kathmandu Engineering College. Starting a new business can be an exhilarating experience and a scary one. You feel you have got an amazing idea, but where do we start? How to venture? How to initiate? I know you have lots of questions in your head, and today we are here to meet all these queries. Oh my God, I'm really excited. Do you feel the same? If yes, please comment below in the chat sections. And our another MC of today's event is Ms. Suprema Shrestha, our public relation manager, and I am passing this platform off to her.
Thank you so much, Apeksha. Don't hope for a life without problem. There is no such thing. Instead, hope for a life full of good problems, because life is essentially an endless series of problems. The solution to one problem is the creation of the other. Accept this truth and see the change within yourself. Hello, everyone. I am Suprema Shrestha. There is an entrepreneur who recently represented India at the World Economic Forum in Davos, United Nations in New York. The man who started his entrepreneurial journey at the age of 16. He is also a recognized public speaker and an established writer. It's a huge indulgence today to reveal the man is Mr. Pratik Gauri. Today we have been joined by Mr. Pratik Gauri, the India president of Fifth Element Group, founder of Let's Do This, co-founder of ALTCTRL, co-founder of Let's Go Social, co-founder of India Needs You, co-founder of Plastic. Mr. Pratik Gauri, welcome to Hall Prize at IOE pre-event Starting a Venture.
Thank you so much for your kind words and a very kind, beautiful introduction. It's just an honor and privilege to be amongst all of you.
This is the first time you have joined an event being conducted by students in Nepal. So how are you feeling right now?
Well, I'm feeling very excited. I'm feeling very happy to see such enthusiasm in this room. And I keep traveling and speaking in different countries. But although I wish this could have been a physical event, but virtually I can see the energy. I can see the chat section. People like young kids, like everybody of you are really passionate and enthusiastic to listen and to hear and to build companies and run startups, which is just phenomenal. And and yeah, I just love energy of young kids. So it's always a pleasure to be amongst kids. And as far as Nepal goes, well, as I was saying, I keep traveling to countries, Europe, US, India, and different countries. But Nepal is completely a different experience. I can see the enthusiasm, and it's just I'm very excited to be amongst you virtually in Nepal.
Thank you so much. I won't take more time here, so you can start your exciting things you were about to say. Good luck, Mr. Pratik Gauri. Are you facing any problem, Mr. Pratik Gauri?
No, I can. Do you want me to start speaking, or is there somebody who's going to be asking questions, or should I just go ahead and speak?
You can go ahead and speak at first, and we will have a question and answer series.
I can't hear you. Your voice is not very clear.
You can start your presentation or something you want to share with us today, and at last,
Okay.
at the end of this, and we will have question and answer series as well.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so yeah, so as the topic says, that building companies, building a new venture. That's what you guys, and I also saw that you guys already learned how to build a good team. So this is pretty much focused on how to start a company and how to start a venture. Well, I'll just share with you my journey, and you'll probably realize on how my journey went, and probably you'll seek inspiration from that as well. When I was 16 years old, that was the time when I first decided to start my first company and first startup. I did not know, much about startups back then. But the only thing I knew was I knew two things. Number one, so I went to good schools, and probably you were also studying at one of the best schools or institutes in Nepal. So I saw a lot of poverty around me. I saw a lot of social problems around me, and I always wanted to solve those social problems. And these social problems were lack of water, or lack of education, or lack of renewable sources of energy, and so on and so forth. And I thought that if you could how can I solve these problems? Number one, so to solve these problems, I should run a company or run a startup. That was number one. Number two was I obviously thought that, because I also wanted to make sure that I earn bread and butter. I earn a living out of this. So can I basically start a company which fulfills my purpose, which fulfills my dream of lifting people, of helping people around me, and also making money? um well that's how my journey began, and that's how I started my first company. So my first company when I was 16 was in the space of education. It was an education consulting company that I started. We were basically helping underprivileged kids getting education. I then I also happened to work with a couple of Fortune 500 companies called Reckitt Benckiser, RB, and Tata Sky. So you guys might have heard of those companies, but there's like pretty big companies with revenues of billions of dollars. When I worked with them, I realized that companies spend billions, in fact, $2 trillion on marketing, and still they're not able to access the audience that they want to access. So I basically thought that if I could connect those marketing dollars to social causes, which I want to solve, like gender equality or hunger or education or climate, then it could become a great idea. It could become a great solution. I could end up solving problems of the society, and also this model could be sustainable. This could end up making money. So when you think, and all of you, by the way, let me tell you another thing. This is the best time to think of an idea and start something. And it's the easiest to start at this age because you don't have any liability, because you're young. As you keep growing older, liabilities increase. You have a family to take care of, and then it becomes hard to take risks. But right now, it's the easiest to take risks because all of you listening to this are mostly in your early 20s. I'm assuming. So this is the best time to take risks. And how to start a company? Well, basically, you should first think of an idea. And by the way, the idea that you can have could be a problem that you're facing. Like I just told you, I was facing a problem when I was getting educated, that I saw a lot of people not getting quality education. That is why I started to launch my first company in the space of education. So the idea could come from a problem. And once you identify a problem, make sure the second step is building a team to solve that problem. Once you're done with that, then just register a domain or just get a website, just create a Facebook page, and you're just all set to go. That's all you need to start a company. It's so easy right now. But the idea that you think, always make sure that it is scalable. So for instance, if you're thinking of an idea which is education, if it is backed by some sorts of technology, then you can actually scale it. So you can probably launch a business based out of Kathmandu in Nepal, but once you launch it and you launch it within Kathmandu, then you can, if you're backed by technology, you can actually scale it across different countries, right? So you could really make it very big. So to create big companies, you basically have to make sure that the idea is execution, you can execute it, and then it's also scalable. So most of the companies that I founded were basically problems that I faced. So that's how I got the idea. Then I created a website, which is very easy. And it doesn't require a lot of money. So basically, because you're in earlier 20s, you can easily start an idea, and once you launch it, you will face a lot of problems, but you'll also understand how to go about it. So I'll just share with you my journey, and then you'll realize. So I worked with a couple of Fortune 500 companies, and then I had the honor of representing India at some of the prestigious forums, like the Nobel Peace Prize Forum in Norway, World Economic Forum in Oslo. I basically went to about 20-25 countries last year. And while I was doing all of that, I also started the India chapter for a company called Fifth Element Group, which is a US-based impact management consultancy. And we were again mobilizing marketing dollars or marketing money towards social causes. So that was my idea, which really kicked off and really became big. I would highly suggest, like most of the ideas that you think of, if they are backed by technology, it's just going to be the next big thing. So you all know that we are living in the age of fourth industrial revolution, where you have access to artificial intelligence, Internet of Things, blockchain, 3D printing, etc. And the good thing is that if you can use these technologies that have been given to us and use it for the benefit of humanity, or for mankind in a better way, like solve problems like education or hunger or climate or gender equality or renewable sources, coal, etc., then you can really create some models which could really become very big. So, and the best part about being in a college right now, like you are in, you can easily find co-founders. So like, some of you, like when you guys were introducing yourself, you basically had a team. So you have about 10 people who should helping, run this show, like run this entire event. And some of you are good at marketing, some of you are good at sales, some of you are good at technology, some of you are good at something else. So the good thing about creating a company, like building a venture, is number one, is to get an idea. That's the first step. And the idea basically should be a problem which you want to solve. The second step is how to solve that problem is to basically build a model and a team. Right? And when you build a team, make sure that you have people from different backgrounds. So there should be someone who should be good at technology, someone should be good at marketing, someone should be good at sales, someone should be good at operation. That's how you build a team. Once you do that, make sure that model is scalable so that you can actually execute it and just run it at scale, right? And then you probably launch the idea and do a beta testing. So when you do a beta testing, make sure that you launch it with your friends. So for instance, if you're trying to launch an education app, just make sure your friends use it. And if your friends like it, then probably other people will also like it. So then that's the point where you actually take it to market. So that's how my journey was. And I right now I'm on the board of about 6 startups. I run the India office of Fifth Element Group, and it's just been an exciting journey for me, being in the entrepreneurial world, because yeah, you get new challenges every day, and then you fight them. And by the way, once you tackle all the challenges, it's just fun. So you sometimes sacrifice on your sleep, you don't get time to sleep, but then it's fun because you're creating something which is very 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 exciting, and people appreciate it. So yeah, so that's been basically my journey. I'm open to, and by the way, I'd love to be in a dialogue with you guys, like not just a monologue. So you can just feel free to ask any questions, and I'd love to answer your questions, because I'm sure if you want to launch an idea, any kind of question that you might have, because I launched my first idea when I was 16 years old, and right now I just turned 30 today. So basically, it's been 14 years, 15 years of journey for me, of having built companies. And I've had a lot of failures, by the way, during the way, and I've had a lot of successes. So you can't just have successes, you will have failures, but then failures teach you a lot. In fact, they teach you more than successes do. So you need to be ready to embrace failures. And if you fail, then probably just learn from it and try not to repeat the same mistake again. And yeah, so that's been my kind of journey. But entrepreneurship is definitely very very exciting, and especially for a country like Nepal that you guys were in. I'm sure there are a lot of social problems there. It's pretty much similar to the subcontinent in India, and there's a lot of opportunity there. So if you want to launch a business, this is the right time, by the way. I repeat this because a lot of people ask me, what's the right time to start a company? And I always think, so by the way, there's no right time. You can start it when you're in your teenagers, or when you're 20s or 30s or 40s, whatever. But when you don't have any liability, that's the best time to start, because that's the best time to fail, and just fail and get up. So I failed, I got up, I failed, I got up, and ultimately you will just get up, and then ultimately you'll just rise. So be determined, be persistent, and just tread on the journey. If you want to basically learn more about the works I do, well, feel free to ping me on LinkedIn. I basically also am an active angel investor, so I invest in startups now actively. So if you're looking for funding, then feel free to hit me up. Some of my companies are funded companies. And by the way, if you're looking for funding, but make sure that you first develop a model which is making money, which is basically creating impact on the ground and also making money. Don't just think that you basically are building a company and it looks very fancy, that you funded and you valued at millions of dollars and so on and so forth. That's pretty cool. But then make sure that you're building a company to create profits and purpose. So work at the intersection of profits and purpose. So number one, have a purpose, what you want to solve, have a long-term vision. So if you're launching a company in education, your vision should be big. It should be pretty cool, and should be to basically end probably the education disparity, right? And if you're working on those lines, then you create an app or create anything, and then you start working on it, and then you start making money. Like you start creating models which are sustainable. So by the way, when I was telling you steps of creating a company, make sure that you also have a business plan in place, which makes sure that you creating balance sheets to make sure that your revenue streams, you have a lot of revenue streams. So you're making sure that revenue is coming to you, so that you're profitable, and you're building a company which has a lot of subscribers and also is giving you money. Once that happens, then you probably take the funding route. But that's like the long steps, but initial steps first. Any question that you guys have, ask
I
me, and then
have
I'll
a
be happy to answer.
question for you. You're India
Yeah.
president of Fifth Element Group, actually. So let's just start with Fifth Element Group. What does Fifth Element actually do?
So what we do is, I was just telling you, we basically link marketing dollars for social impact. So there's a large campaign that we currently ran. We helped run a campaign called Harpic Mission Pani. So Harpic is a toilet cleaner brand from a company called Reckitt Benckiser, which is a Fortune 500 company. So we basically helped create a fund, a water conservation fund, to build water conservation facilities in India. And as you do that, you basically end up hitting all the brand metrics of Harpic. So you end up creating more brand warmth. And when you do that, you're basically creating more brand warmth. So you're basically hitting all your KPIs, key performance indicators. And while you're also hitting your KPIs, you're also creating a purpose where you're solving a problem of SDG 6, Sustainable Development Goal of the United Nations 6, which is clean water and sanitation. So you're making sure that people get access to clean water, like poor people, underprivileged people, and you're also getting your brand to sell more. So you're getting more revenue, more profits, and you're also solving a social problem. So that's what I call an omni-win. So what we do at Fifth Element Group is we create omni-win solution, which is a win-win solution for brands, for government, for private sector, for ultra high net worth individual, for celebrities, for billionaires, and we bring them to the same table and roll them out. This is what we're doing with Harpik Mission Pani. Another big campaign that we currently ran was Some Good News by John Krasinski. So John Krasinski is a pretty renowned actor. I don't know if you guys have seen The Office, but if you have, that, he was a lead for that. And he created a show called Some Good News to showcase good news amidst COVID, because there was so many bad news that were happening, and so much depression going on. So he created that, and we mostly, what we did was we basically helped bring Pepsi and Starbucks to kind of sponsor dollars. So there were dollars of $4 million, which is about 28 crore rupees. We tried to bring in funding to make sure that they get executed, and as it got executed, it was basically pretty cool, because we were helping restaurant workers who lost jobs, who were not, because amidst when COVID happened, a lot of restaurants shut down, so people lost jobs, right? So this money was used to basically give them money so that they can survive, but also it gave more revenues to companies like Starbucks and Pepsi, because they were getting themselves promoted as well. So it was basically, what we do is we link marketing dollars to social impact.
Are you like trying to use technology to attain a sustainable development goals like gender equity and this kinds of all zero hungers and other like climate change? So are you trying to use technology to like create a sustainable development goals, and how are you using technology to achieve that?
Yeah, so we definitely use a lot of technology, because as I said, I am a big fan of technology. I think if you can, and what I say I'm doing is I'm creating the fifth industrial revolution through Fifth Element Group, where we basically use technologies to solve problems like hunger and gender equality and climate change, etc. I'll give you one example. So we created a coin, a silver coin, back in last year. It was a pure silver coin. It was enabled. It was a blockchain enabled coin with Rani of Jhansi, which is a symbolic figure in India for gender equality or women empowerment. We created that coin to encourage or to increase financial literacy or digital literacy amongst women and girls. We created that coin. It was backed by blockchain. We started selling it to ultra high net worth people like CEOs and billionaires and celebrities, etc. And we were selling each. So we were selling each coin at about $100 US dollars, and all the money that was collected, that the proceeds that we were getting by selling those coins, were being given to not-for-profits which were working in the gender equality space, SDG 5. So gender equality is basically SDG 5, Sustainable Development Goal 5. So the money was being donated to women and girls kind of leading companies, etc. So this is the way we kind of use technology. We use blockchain to solve the problem of gender equality.
There's so much use of blockchains these days. So how do you define blockchains, and how can you like describe blockchain with us today?
So blockchain is nothing but it's like a decentralized mechanism to kind of deal with things. So think of it this way. So right now, the biggest problem is when you're exporting goods, or if you're sending anything, there are a lot of hassles which happen, and these hassles happen because there is a lot of centralization. So blockchain, what it does is it decentralizes everything. So it doesn't give you control. It doesn't give one party control, but it decentralizes. And because of decentralization, you are more quicker. So I mean, the transactions happen really quickly, and they're more transparent, and because you can see what's happening, and there is no control of one party, and that is why blockchain is a pretty cool technology to have, and that's why we use blockchain in this coin as well.
So like that is blockchain is doing a lot of things, and it is like blockchain does not like remove anything from it.
I didn't get you.
Is it like blockchain always like takes everything with it and it does not remove anything from that, and it helps you to attain sustainable development goals?
Yes, it does, because of decentralization, as I said. So sustainable development goals, by the way, of the United Nations are 17 global goals. If you go through those goals, they are hunger and climate and education and gender equality and sustainable housing and so on and so forth. So there are about 17 global goals, like partnerships for the goals, etc. So these goals basically are, again, they are all linked. So if you basically achieve one goal, you are achieving 3 or 4 more. Like, I'll just give you a small example. If I run a campaign on SDG 6, which is water, once I solve the problem of water conservation, or I give water, I provide clean water in villages, a lot of women who probably carry water bottles on their shoulders end up spending 4 to 6 hours, right? And if I kind of use blockchain to decentralize everything, right, and through that technology provide clean water to women, imagine I'm probably solving the one problem, which is gender equality, number one, which is SDG 5. I am giving them clean water, which is SDG 6, which is clean water and sanitation. And once these women have hours, like they don't have to spend hours just going to fetch water because they have water at their houses, they can end up working. So you end up increasing labor employment, because there are about 50, so we have 50% women in our in the world, right? Like we're 50% women and 50% men, but only 20 to 25% contribute to labor workforce. So you cannot grow an economy, you cannot grow economically if you don't bring women into the workforce. So this is one way of bringing more women into the workforce. So imagine if you're just running a campaign backed by technology like blockchain on SDG 6, which is water, you are actually solving SDG 5, gender equality. You are solving SDG 17, which is partnerships. You're solving hunger and so many SDGs, right? So you're probably solving 5 to 6 SDGs just by tackling one problem through technology.
And I heard you don't compromise about sustainable development goals as well. And in one of your press statements, you said that you want to establish unicorn startups that can generate more than 1,000 crore revenue. And you have already co-founded 5+ startups. So do you think your startup resembles unicorn startups?
Yes. So yeah, absolutely. So most of the startups that I have founded or I found are in the fifth industrial revolution space, and fifth industrial revolution is all about using technology for the benefit of mankind. And COVID, actually, since COVID happened, now everybody knows that we will transition quickly from fourth industrial revolution to the fifth industrial revolution. And that is because everybody has realized that, if you can't just mess up with climate, you can't just keep thinking about money but not think of climate, that's not going to work, right? So a lot of people are now starting to resort more healthy lifestyle. They don't want to they don't want to drink a Coca-Cola, but they're more happy drinking a juice. So that's the kind of mindset consumers have shifted towards, right? So most of my and those are the companies which are going to become unicorns. I don't know, by the way, let me just tell you what a unicorn is first. So for most of you who don't know what unicorn is, so unicorn is a company or a startup which is valued at more than $1 billion. And you get that valuation because of the kind of problem you're addressing. If the problem is huge and the solution is pretty cool, if the solution is interesting and it basically makes sense to solve that problem, and it is working at scale, then you get that valuation of more than $1 billion. So to get that kind of valuation, basically you need to have a startup which is really addressing a large social problem. So most of my startups are addressing big social problems like education or climate, solar, wind energy, renewable sources of energy, or health, and so on and so forth. So basically they're addressing large social problems, and that is and we are using technology to do that. So we are already getting crazy valuations. My goal is to basically have 25 offices in 25 different countries, achieve fifth industrial revolution, and get and go towards building unicorn startups, which are generating revenues of more than 1,000 crores. And also solving or also lifting billions of people. So I want to basically impact positively more than 1 billion people and create unicorns. That's my life's mission goal.
You have still a vision for unicorn. You have not still achieved a unicorn companies, but you look forward to unicorn companies by your side.
Yeah.
So like, I have a next question for you. Like, you've already established more than 5, co-founded of more than 5 companies. And how hard was it for you to find your investors? Because our main topic of today's event is starting ventures. So how hard it was for you to find your investors?
So by the way, as I said in the initial, when I was speaking initially, you should never create a company relying on investor capital initially. So it should be the other way around. So there are 2 types of strategies. There's a push strategy and there's a pull strategy. I always use the pull strategy. So when you have a good model and the model is generating revenues and you are also creating and you're solving a large social problem, as I said, and if it's a big problem that you're solving and the solution that you have is working and it's creating money and it's creating impact, 4 things. Okay. If all these 4 things are happening, you will get a very good valuation and investors will chase you because they will want to put money in you. So for me, finding investors has never been a tough task. And that's because most of my companies have been addressing problems. Initially, when I started my first company, I did not know how to reach investors. But as you just build startups and as you grow along the journey, there will be people reaching out to you, because if you're building a company which is going to solve a big social problem and it's going to be valued at a very high valuation, and you are going to create, you're going to change the world through it, then people would want to put in money because they also want to make more money. So investors put money in your company just because they think that if they put 10 crores right now, they would want a return of say 10x, like they would want 100 crores in say 3 years or 2 years or whatever, right? That's why people put money in your company. So why would somebody give you money? Because people will give you money because they have a selfish interest to it. By the way, they want to also generate returns. And if they see your model is generating returns, if it's creating profits, if it's a profitable model and it is going to solve a big problem, then they will be very happy to put money in your company. So use the pull strategy. Don't use push. First, create a model, build a team, solve a problem, create a solution, and start making revenues. Once you do that, investors will chase you.
So you believe experience and smartness is responsible to find investors?
So look, to be very honest, I think anything requires smart work, right? So building a company is all about being smart. You should know what to do and when to do, right? And you should probably be very, very smart in knowing what to do, when to do. And that's why I said, use the smart approach. First, create a model which is scalable. Once you create that model, then think of getting investor money. Don't think that you're going to get investor money the day you think of an idea. So it can't be you think of an idea today and tomorrow somebody's going to give you money. That doesn't happen, because until you prove that you can actually build a company and you have an experience of companies which are successful, nobody's going to give you money. So you need to first show to the world or show to the investors that you have the ability to scale it. And once you show that, then people are going to invest in your company.
So I have to take a question from an audience because he has been messaging me a lot. Like, entrepreneurs or business students, they are not used to technology, right? So, and he's asking me that how to link technology with entrepreneurship. Like, everyone don't get that privilege to learn technology and at the same time entrepreneurship business. So how do you address this problem?
Well, you'll be surprised that although I'm an engineer, but I never wanted to do engineering. I always wanted to build businesses. I did engineering, but I just did it because my parents asked me to do it. To be very honest, I did not. I don't think I'm a very good engineer, but I have amazing people around me who are amazing engineers. So the fun part here is a lot of you might be doing engineering just because you were asked to do engineering and you don't love technology or you don't understand tech very well. I am in the same boat. I am a hardcore sales guy. I am a marketing guy. But I have a team which is amazing at technology. So even if you don't know technology, you should know how to basic. So as I told you, those 4 steps, remember those 4 steps. First, see a problem that you want to solve. Number two, create a solution. Okay, that solution can be anything. It could be, if you are probably thinking that there is a lot of education inequity, you want to solve it, so you will create an app. Don't you are not good at tech, that's perfectly fine. Number three is build a team. When you're building a team, if you're not good at technology, hire or basically partner with people who are good at technology. Because if you're good at, like, I am very good at sales and marketing, but I'm not good at tech. So most of my co-founders are very good at technology. That's how I find co-founders. So then I have a person who's good at tech and I am good at marketing. So it makes a team, right? So find somebody who's good at tech if you are not good at tech, and then build a company. So that's how you deal with it. And by the way, let me tell you, most of my companies are technology companies, but I myself, I don't think I'm good at technology. But my people around me, my team is amazing at tech. So basically, I think what I'm good at is just finding a good idea, finding a problem, and then creating a solution to it.
So that is, I think, if you're a single person cannot be good at each and everything. So build a team and start your work. I think our audience got the answer. So the worst experience teaches the best lesson in life, So would you mind sharing some of your experiences you refer as a worst experience and that brought you to Mr. Pratik Gauri right now? That
So
triggered your inner emotions and you are now Mr. Pratik Gauri.
So you want to know about my failures, what I failed, and then I realized that how to deal with them?
Yeah, that's exactly, you got it right. If you would like to share, it would be amazing.
Yeah, so look, as I told you, failures teach you much more than successes do, right? And that's how life is. Like, failures teach you a lot. And I've had a lot of failures, and there is no problem in failing, right? The good thing about me was I am very motivated. So I was very motivated to build unicorn startups. I am motivated to create a solution to solve a problem. And I fail and I stand up again, and I fail again, I stand up again. And that's happened to me multiple times. And I'll tell you some of the reasons to it. Okay. So some of times what you happen is you choose a wrong team. If you choose a wrong team, there can be co-founder conflicts. And then you can just end up, you might have the best of the ideas, you might have a great solution, but if you don't have a good team, you're not going to end up doing anything. It's just going to it's just going to kill that entire idea. It's happened with me. I failed a lot of times. And then now I finally, I think I'm good right now. I think I'm good at identifying the right people to work with, but you still make mistakes, right? And we are humans. That's why we're humans. And the good part is, when you make mistake, just make sure you don't repeat it again. Make mistakes. That's perfectly fine. And in your 20s, I think the best time to make mistakes. Just make as many mistakes as you can and just fail. Okay. If you fail, just make sure you get up. Don't get demotivated, by the way. Failure should not demotivate you. In fact, it should motivate you to achieve more. So when people around, so when I started my first company, most of the people around me, or most of my friends, wanted jobs with Microsofts or all big companies of the world. And my parents also wanted me to kind of take up jobs which pay you very well. And I'm sure your parents want that too. A lot of parents encourage kids to get up jobs. But if you are passionate about entrepreneurship, if you want to build an idea, just be sure, just be confident on yourself, and just be very self-motivated, and just make sure, and just keep starting. And if you fail, start again, start again. And I can guarantee you, in some years you will become successful. Success will come to you, but it will take time. You can't just get success in a day or 2 or 3 days or 5 days. So when my friends around me told me, oh my God, you're starting companies, and I failed my first company, when I started, it failed in 1.5 years. And then I started another company. So my friend told me, look, I already, there were a lot of people around you which would say, look, you started a company and you failed, and look, we are making more money because we started in a job. But let me tell you, the learnings that you will get out of a failure will teach you to build a successful company. And the learnings that you get out of failed entrepreneurial experience is valued very high. And that is because you really test everything and then you fail. So fail as much as you can, but once you fail, make sure you get up and you build, you don't repeat that mistake again.
So we have a lot of questions from our audiences. Audiences, if you don't mind, you can just raise your hand and we will unmute you. It will be easier for you to interact with Mr. Pratik. So, but still, I will read some of the questions. What are some of your idols or materials which you utilized in start of your entrepreneurship journey? It's from Isan Panthi.
You want to know my idols?
Yeah,
Okay.
Isan Panthi has asked the question.
Okay. I am a big reader. If you are doing startups, make sure that you read a lot, okay? Because reading makes you make less mistakes. So there are two ways to make mistakes. One, learn from your own experience, and the second is learn from other people's failures. So I do both. Like, I learn from other people's failure as well, so I fail less, right? So I read a lot of books when I was young. Make sure that you read a book called Rich Dad Poor Dad, and also make sure that you read a book called Lean Startup by Eric Ries. It's a good book. It's both of those are good books. And my inspirations, by the way, growing up, when I was young, was always Elon Musk and Steve Jobs, and some others, but these were two big inspirations of mine, and these were big icons. And those were icons because they were impacting companies. They created companies which impacted more than 1 billion people, and they're really changing the world in a better way. And that's what I want you to do. That was my life's mission too. Like, so if you see Steve Jobs, he created Apple, and everybody now uses iPhone. So he created a product which basically changed lives of so many people, right, in a positive way. So that's why I loved that idea, and it's backed by technology, and it's really changing the world. And similar with Elon Musk, he's creating something which I call the electric vehicle revolution with Tesla. So that's probably making the world move towards renewable sources of energy, and so on and so forth, and helping achieve the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. So those were big inspirations of mine, but those were external inspirations. But then I make sure that you have a lot of mentors as you grow up. I basically have a lot of mentors, and just seek guidance from them. So, anytime you find somebody who's inspirational, just talk to them and ask them what mistakes they made, and make sure you don't make those mistakes, and take guidance from them. If you're building a company, get them on your advisory board. So advisory board is very important. So when you're building a startup, like when I was building my startup, I made sure that I have very good people on my advisory board, and people who really have kind of built startups already, so that I can seek help from them and get their experience. So make sure you have a good advisory board, and people you admire. And they might not be just people like Bill Gates or Elon Musk. It could be people who are around you. It could be your parents. Like, it could be your brother or sister, or your friend, or anybody who's doing some great stuff who you get inspired by. Make sure you have good inspirations, and people who really are doing real great stuff, and make sure you talk to them, and kind of bring them on your advisory board.
Okay, so you mean there should be someone that should guide you, and you should follow a person if you want to be like that person. So Prakash Pandey is raising his hand. So please, someone, could you unmute Mr. Prakash Pandey? He wants to ask a question. Okay.
Sir, how to sort some good partners for our business?
So
like someone's.
So good to thanks for your question, Prakash. So how to find good partners? Well, I just told you are in college. That's the best way. You have people around you. You have friends around you who might be good at the stuff that you're not good at. That's the best way to find partners, right? Like when you're in college, it's easy to find partners. And if you're not in college, once you graduate from college, then probably attend a lot of conferences. Like I used to attend a lot of conferences, and that's where I used to meet a lot of people who were ambitious, who were doing some great stuff, and that's where I used to found my co-founders. So that's how you build. That's how you find your team. So either find people from your school, college, people who you work with, people around the place you live, people you play with, or another way is social media. By the way, if you're active on LinkedIn, it's an amazing way to network with people and find people. So even if you're sitting at your home, you are not going anywhere, you can just find people on LinkedIn and just chat with them and see if it makes sense.
So like there was a question from audience, and I too have a question for you. So what does omni-win solution really means? You just explained about it, but I am not like totally clear about omni-win solution. Would you mind explaining a bit?
Yeah, so omni-win, basically what does the word omni-win mean? So omni-win is basically means that a win-win-win. So I basically thought that the world, there are two worlds that are operating right now. One world is a for-profit world, which is heavily focused on profit, which is private sector, like you companies, you like, Apple and Microsoft and Google and so on. And then the other sector or the other world is the philanthropy world, where you see people donating money and billionaires donating money to solve problems like education and health, and so on and so forth. So omni-win, what I meant was omni-win was, how can you bring people together who belong from different sectors and make them work together? So probably bring somebody from a private sector. So bring some CEO of some big company, right? Like Unilever or Procter and Gamble or IBM or Microsoft and so on and so forth, right? The second side, bring people from government, because any solution that you develop, you need government to scale it, because government has access to a lot of people, right? And they also want to benefit the society. That's why they are in existence. So then, and the third side has social entrepreneurs who have access to people on the ground who have solutions. And on the fourth side, bring people like celebrities who are influence and social media influencers, etc. If you can bring these four people together, right, then you can create an omni-win solution. So why I say omni-win is, it's a
Excuse me, Pratik sir. So I think now we have something we provided to you because you are already running out of time. So, Suprema.
Happy birthday to you, Pratik Gauri sir, and we have something for you.
thank you so much.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, happy birthday. Happy birthday to you.
Once again, happy birthday to you, Mr. Pratik Gauri. Long live and just have an exciting life as we're having right now.
Thank you. I loved the video. Thank you so much for this amazing gesture.
Do you want to explain further about this videos, your memories in this? And I think you look like an animal lover from this like video.
Yeah, I am an animal lover.
So like we have a question from our audience as well. So someone has raised the hand called Moktan. So someone, could you please unmute Mr. Moktan? Hello?
Hello.
Could you please
Hello, good
ask the
afternoon.
question?
Yeah, my question is, what about risk assessment in your entrepreneurship, and how did you make it or deal it? If you do have, could you please explain or give us an example?
Can you please repeat your question again?
What about the risk assessment have you done in your entrepreneurship, and how did you make it or how did you deal it? If you do have, could you please explain us and give us an example?
Okay. So look, about risk assessment. Well, every entrepreneur needs to do risk assessment, because so risk assessment is based on, 2 or 3 things, as I told you. Number one, what is your opportunity cost? What is, and when I say opportunity cost, it's basically an intersection of time and money. So you probably might, so does your idea involve you putting financial capital? Like, does your idea involve you putting money? If yes, then that's a thing you need to evaluate. Second, do you need to put a lot of time into the venture, which you would? How do you think it makes sense to put so much time? That's another thing you need to evaluate. Risk assessment is basically done mostly. I do my risk assessment based on time and money, because those are of essence. Like, time is of essence and money is of essence, right? And if it makes sense, then you do it. If it don't make sense, don't do it. But always make sure that you take into account two things: short-term gains and long-term gains. So when you are building a company, there are two things you need to take care of. Number one is your short-term financial gains, because you obviously need money to survive, right? You need money to like month on month. So is your startup giving you that kind of money you need? If it yes, then it's awesome. Then because you have equity in the company, then that is mostly because valuations. If the valuations go up, then you can actually cash out later and make a lot of money there. So that's how you basically make sure that you are secure financially. Also make sure that you are fulfilling your passion. So when you do risk assessment, make sure that you are putting passion also there. So you might be so if somebody is passionate about, say, travel, okay, and if you're launching a startup on travel, then it is easy for you to work 16 hours a day, right? But if I don't understand technology, and if you ask me to code, if you ask me to code, I can't even code for 1 hour a day. Like, if I'll code for 8 hours, I'll just go bonkers. I'm crazy. But if you ask me to do marketing, which is what I love, I can do it 16 hours a day. So that's another thing which you need to take into account. So those are the things you do when you're doing risk assessment.
Okay, I think he got an answer. So can we take other audience's question too, sir? If you don't mind. So can someone unmute Asis Mulmi? Asis Mulmi.
Hello. Hello.
Yes, you're audible, Asis.
It's okay. Sir, my question is, how do you recognize social entrepreneurship is your calling?
Okay, so well, I was basically, as I said, my passion was basically to make sure that I help people live more abundant lives. Like, when I was young, when I was very young, and 13 or 14, I saw poverty around me, like people who didn't have access to water, people not having access to books, people not being able to not having money to go to good schools. And when I saw that, it really it used to make me very sad. And I thought that how can I help these people? But I did not come from a family like Bill Gates, like very rich. So I could not afford to just donate money and just make things happen. So I basically thought I also need to make money, but I also need to fulfill my passion, which is to help people. How can I do both of them? So then I decided to launch ventures, launch companies which have a social mission, which are basically solving social problems, but also making money. So when you do both of those things at the same time, that's social entrepreneurship. So entrepreneurship is nothing but just building a company which is profitable, and then social is because you're solving a social problem. That's why you call social entrepreneurship.
So that was the last. We could take questions from audiences. I think he is running out of his time. So, but before he goes, I would like to call Mr. Jayakishan Panjiar, campus director at Hall Prize at IOE. He wants to share something with you, Mr. Pratik Gauri. So, Jayakishan Panjiar.
Yeah, thank you, Suprema. Hello, Pratik sir.
Hi.
Yeah, actually, it is actually first day of the Dasai in Nepal. I know you know what Dasai. It's a Dasara in India. It is called. Yeah, and it was like a great. It was like it's rare actually to have some guest, birthday. To have, it's like a sometimes rare to like a have some birthday of the guest on the events. So it was like a really, it was a very pleased by your presence, like your insights on, fifth industrial revolution. Then after that, omni business. After that, you told about unicorn things. That was really great, sir. And thanks for joining us. It was really good to have you here. And again, sir, we are blessed by your presence. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you so much. I am honored to be with all of you. And I love, as I said in the beginning, I love your enthusiasm and energy. And if you have any questions, or if you're just because yeah, it was short, this was a short, I could go on and on, but I hope we can connect. So if you need any help, any questions, please, I've put in the chat window, I've put my Facebook and LinkedIn and Instagram. You can just follow me there and you can just ping me, and I'll be happy to answer all your questions. And if you start your company, and once you start building a company and you're looking for investments, please hit me up, because I'm an angel investor as well.
Okay, that was just a beautiful, beautiful session with you. Thank you so much for your wonderful time and wonderful sharing of your experiences. It's a huge privilege for us to have you today.
Thank you so much. It was an honor. It was my honor being with you.
So we can follow you on your Instagram, LinkedIn, and your Facebook to know what you are doing currently and what you will do in your future. And we can learn so many things from you, right?
Yes, that's correct. So I've put in I put in my Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn, all three. You can connect with me. You can connect with me on all three.
I have put that link as well. So audiences, if you have any questions to ask with Mr. Pratik Gauri, like you can just go there, follow him on LinkedIn and Facebook and Instagram. So thank you so much, Mr. Pratik Gauri, for being with us. It's like, it did not feel like saying a goodbye, but I have to. So goodbye and thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Okay.
Great to be
Up
amongst
next,
all of you. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much. Bye, sir. But before you go, I think we need to have a selfie with you.
Oh, okay.
So, okay, I got it. So thank you so much, Mr. Pratik Gauri.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, sir. Up next, we have Miss Preity Upala. She is a very, 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 very interesting guest of today, and she is like CEO of Omnia company based in Australia, but lives and work in Los Angeles. Preity was crowned with the India Universe, and she is a spiritual ambassador. Hello, Miss Preity Upala.
Namaste, Suprema, and namaste to your wonderful audience. It's such an honor and a pleasure to be with you on this at this event. I'm truly honored.
Welcome to Hall Prize at IOE. Free
Thank
event.
you. Thank you.
So I won't take more time here. I would love to hear some of the exciting things you would like to share with us, as much as you can, as much as you would like to share with us.
Wonderful. Yeah, I think I was sent some questions, so I just sort of prepared for that mentally in my mind. So I think the best way to do this is just ask away, and I think through that question and answer, I'll expand on it, and you can get an idea of my background and my life here in Los Angeles and what I do today.
Okay, I am very, very excited to ask you questions. It's a privilege for me. So like, how do you connect entrepreneurship, dharma, and technology, as you have a deep relation with these parts?
Yeah, that's a great question. Firstly, I remember earlier this year at the Raisina Dialogues in Delhi, which is a big sort of political summit of foreign ministers from all around the world. They had gathered there, and I was a speaker. And my topic actually was dharma in the digital age. And I remember the host, the interviewer, was really challenging me because he didn't understand the connection between dharma and technology. He said, how can these two go together? And I had to explain to him, it's very smooth transition. And this was before the COVID lockdown. And I was trying to sell my idea to him that technology and spirituality can go hand in hand. Technology is an aid to your spiritual journey and your spiritual process. It should not impede you in any way. It's a tool that you use, and it's decentralized. It's open source. Anybody can can log in, and it moves from the digital divide to the digital dividend. So it actually makes things more on an even playing field for the world. I think technology has shrunk the sort of some of the economic disparity. You know, you can go to Africa, you can go to Southeast Asia, wherever people may not have running water or electricity, but today they do have a smartphone, you know, and they do have access to the internet and to do what they need to do. So that's like a great galvanizer in a way, and I think it's a great leveler, I would say. So that's the connection between dharma and technology, so to speak. With entrepreneurship, for me, the way I think about it is I'm fulfilling my dharma, you know, my mission in life, my purpose in life. And I used to be an investment banker in Sydney, Australia, and I knew that it wasn't my purpose. And I had a spiritual awakening. I went sort of deep into my own spiritual process, did a lot of meditation and contemplation. And out of all of that sort of deep work, I realized that I'm supposed to be on the global stage. I'm supposed to go to America, which is really the epicenter of the world, for all the things that I was interested in doing, and that I should be sharing my thoughts, my knowledge with the world at large, and I should be using all my gifts. So to me, entrepreneurship or an entrepreneur is anybody who knows who he is, knows what he's about and what he wants, and is not afraid to go after it. And you know, you can find out that you're this when you're 10 or when you're 80. There's, I think, no age to this. It's really eternal. So there is a connection between all three. I think when you're being authentic and true to your higher self, everything will fall into place, like it did for me. It was just very organic. I knew that I had to leave the corporate world and I should embark on this adventure. I had no idea how it would work out. I sort of won a scholarship out of the blue that I didn't even apply for, but it came into my life. It fell on in my lap, so to speak. And I thought, I'm going to chase this. I'm going to take this opportunity and go to America by myself. Leave everything behind, because I know that there's a big treasure out there waiting for me. And sure enough, when I flew to Los Angeles for the first time quite a few years ago, it's been magical ever since. You know, it really has unfolded into quite a journey. And I always had conviction. I always trusted that things would work out. And I always am positive, you know, in life, especially, you know, post this lockdown. I think the world is a very vulnerable, unpredictable, chaotic place. Nobody has seen the future. Nobody knows what's going to happen tomorrow. All you have is your inner self, your soul, your values, your morals, you know, what you love, who you are, you know, your integrity, those things. So that's all you have to work with and play with, so to speak. So you must honor that always. And no matter what life throws at you, never compromise. I've never compromised on who I am and my values. And I think that's why I am still standing here, because Hollywood, which is where I live and work, is an interesting place where you get millions of people from around the world come to Hollywood with stars in their eyes, and within 6 months they're gone because they just didn't know who they were, or they were not willing to do the hard work. And at some point they compromised on who they were, and sort of they found themselves moving on to other industries, and or they move back home, or they go find some other place to another dream to chase. But I think if you hold on, then 10, 20 years later, you'll still be here. You'll outshine, outlast everyone, because it's a game of survival in a way, you know. Yeah.
So like, I would love to if like you would take me to short journey of dharma, ever shortly, you know, because you're like an ambassador of spirituality. So would you mind explaining or taking us a short journey of dharma?
Yes, I think dharma is something that's so important, obviously for I mean, India and Nepal and all around Southeast Asia. You know, the ethos of all of our nations is very dharmic. and it's the framework, I think, that is eternal. Literally, it's eternal, and it has lasted uh, thousands of years. It has really stood the test of time. And I think post-COVID, it's possibly the only framework that will work for the future, for the future of humanity, I think, moving forward, because you have to take into account balance and harmony between each other, between yourself and the divine, between you and the environment, between you and animals. All of this is very much within the dharmic framework. And I think when you think about, whether it's India or Nepal, uh, we have our problems, but throughout, uh, amidst, in the middle of our problems, despite them, we have our core values, and also how we interact with nature, animals, each other. That is non-negotiable for us, and I think we've never lost that healing, that spiritual gentle touch, and how we sort of treat each other. And when you live in the West, it's very different. In some ways, there's a lot of good things about the West, and if you really want to work hard, and it's a good system for working hard and becoming very successful, but they lack other things like this humanness, I think, and maybe the spiritual way of looking at life, and also realizing that you are one with everyone. We're all one. That oneness and interconnectedness is very much part of our ethos. So I think, obviously, dharma sort of means different things to different people. It could mean faith. It could mean the path. It could mean the truth. And it's all of those things sometimes. But I think that both India and Nepal are world leaders in this. We must be the dharmic leader in the world. We must be the dharmic ambassador nations, because I think it's in our DNA. And I trust me, the world is looking for answers and looking for guidance. Like even in America, especially now with everything that's gone, they don't know where to turn. It's all too chaotic. And I think the comfort and deep peace and surrender, acceptance, understanding of the situation, that does come from the dharmic viewpoint. And I think we must hold on to it and cherish it, and we must share it with the world.
It's a very unique thing you're trying to do, because you're trying to connect dharma with technology, and that is really unique. And would you mind explaining that, of like you're trying to connect technology with dharma? How are you able to connect technology and dharma?
Yeah, that's a great question. Well, pre-COVID, it was a little different. It was more like of an idea, but now, I mean, look at how we are connecting now. There is no other option. And I think this is very much, even when the lockdown is done, when this whole COVID thing is done, it'll still continue. I think people will actually choose, maybe prefer to, have more digital interactions. And instead of the big events, they might do virtual events, because they're actually, the cost is lower, and you can still get the connections. I mean, it's not the real thing, not quite the real thing sometimes, but it has its own charm, its own flavor. It works in some ways. So I see that not going away anytime soon. For me, I feel that my gift really is, speaking to students, to corporation, professionals, corporate professionals, and people, whether it's maybe think tanks or diplomats, people in politics, media, speaking to them about all of these interesting issues. And I think doing it through my portal, my website, my streaming service, whatnot, that's really the way to go for me, because I am very international, and I've spoken physically around the world, but now even through Zoom, I've gone to different countries and done my thing. So it's been fun. So I definitely try to marry the two, and I think it's perfect harmony, and there's something very spiritual about it anyway, because I think if you're genuine, then it doesn't matter if it's through some app, it doesn't matter. The sincerity, if the sincerity is there, I think you will have a profound experience. I mean, when you look at spiritual gurus, for example, you tune into some YouTube channel and the guru is saying something incredible, some amazing story. Even I'm sitting here in LA, I'm looking at this video, I'm completely enamored, I'm touched, I'm having a healing experience. So, you don't always have the money or the time to fly around the world and go to the physical darshan. This is the second best thing we have. And actually now it's the only thing we have. But even moving forward, I think people might opt for this because it's available, it's free or cheap, very inexpensive and very accessible. So I think I combine my purpose and technology, but I also want to get into the app space. I think because I talk about meditation and yoga and things like that, I think some kind of a spiritual app for me, that would be great. Yeah.
So there is a question about meditation as well, from like how to make continuity to meditation process on daily basis, and to like take rest and relax meditation. Which meditation process do you follow?
Interesting. I'm very lucky in a way that I've had the privilege to have met a lot of interesting spiritual teachers and spiritual gurus, enlightened souls all around the world of different modalities. It is not something people are that open to usually. They go to the modality that they are in or that they like. But for me, I was sort of thrown into it. I just was introduced, and I always said yes, and I went along to all kinds of retreats everywhere, different wisdom systems and so on. And you take the best from each of them, and there is a lot of good to each of them. So for me, I use a combination of different ones. It's not one practice that I have every day at a certain time. That works for some people. I think for myself, and I usually travel a lot, so I don't have any set schedule. So when I do find time in the day, for me, I'm a night owl, so in the evening is much better before I sleep, or in the late night, I think that's when I can have some time to myself. I'm not a fan of guided meditation, but I do like breathing techniques. I mean, pranayama is very powerful. There are many types of pranayama. There's kriya, different types of kriya yoga, of course, but nothing like just going, focusing on your breath and emptying your mind and just focusing on the inner mind, the third eye of in your mind's eye. Very basic, simple things like that. And then I think then your inner self speaks to you in that sort of depth, and then the answers come, revelations come, and so on. But I think also deep breathing regulates your heartbeat. It de-stresses you. Your system is happy. Your organs are happy. So it's definitely a physiological shift that happens. And people don't realize it's not just the emotional and the mental and the emotional. It's also physically your body is completely at ease and it's just in a better place. It's happier. So to the person who asked, experiment and find one that you really like. And if you really like a technique, you will be more inclined to make time for it every day. So I think focus on what brings a smile to my face. What 10, 15, 20, 30-minute practice can I do every day that I genuinely like? And trust me, you'll find it, and then you'll be able to make time for it.
That was really beautiful. And you've traveled more than 75 countries, more than 5 languages. And so because of that, how did international diplomacy, dharma, spirituality help you in starting a business venture?
Yeah, this is good. I've always been very international. I've always been a global citizen, right? So, growing up, living in different countries, speaking different languages, growing up in different cultures, different faiths and completely different parts of the world, it makes you, I've always been an outsider in a way, but now there is the concept of insider outsider is weird because we're all kind of insiders and outsiders in a way. But I've always had to be, it, taught me to be humble and to respect the sort of the, um, the prevailing culture where I was in, and I respected it and I learned from it. And and then obviously we moved, and then there was a new culture to explore, and so on. And then I did my own work too. I think growing up traveling and being to so many places, it gives you a amazing world view where I think you have more compassion and you have more empathy, you're more understanding. Because in America, they're famous for not having passports and traveling. I think less than 30% of Americans hold passports. So, they don't really go much outside of the country. The whole world comes to America though. So, they do get their taste, I must say. It's an extremely multicultural place. But, then you compare that with a country like Australia, which is an island on the other side of the world, middle of nowhere, small country, small population. They travel more than anyone. They go everywhere. They love to travel. And so the Australian way is to go outside of their comfort zone and go out there and explore. And I think with America, it's more they're yielding and taking in the rest of the world. So it's interesting. But I think for me, it's given me a great sensibility to appreciate various cultures, different ways of thinking, and it's a passion anyway. I do like traveling, and if any project that I do, it has something to do. There is a global aspect to it, and there's before the COVID thing, I was speaking a lot. I had many engagements, and I was looking forward to that. But anyway, they'll come back. So I think having the international sensibility really helps. And then the diplomacy bit was, I have been working in media for a long time, but my experience and involvement in with journalism and with media was more in the spiritual realm. I've been writing about writing and speaking about dharma, spirituality, Vedic philosophy, all these amazing things for many years. But then slowly I started writing and speaking about politics, and then geopolitics, and out of all of that came the diplomacy, where now I do write and talk about the UN, I talk about conflicts, and I talk about these international institutions, what are they doing to solve some of the problems. There's some criticisms too. You have to be honest with things to be able to get a solution. So it was a gradual shift, and now I'm involved with various think tanks and organizations, very excited to do that. And my company, which is the Omnia Institute, it's new because I've had my other company for many years, but Omnia is a new venture, and that is sort of a not non-profit, but also a think tank for all of these, geopolitics, religion, spirituality, media, and things like that. I just think that they all are closely related and intertwined in very deep ways. And I think you must address all of them and see what's going on. So I'm very excited about that.
So is like visiting new places important to you, or learning new important to you, or do you take both parallelly?
Well, before the COVID, absolutely going was so important, and I would always go to some speaking thing or some conclave or whatnot, and then I would always take a week off after and explore and stay back and have meet people and all that authentic experience. But obviously this year that has not happened much, but it will. I think from 2021 onwards we'll get back to that. But in like this year I've done a lot of learning. I've done teaching too, but I've learned about myself. I've picked up new things. I've made new friends, all kinds of networking. I think next level for sure in many ways. So I think, yes, the learning aspect has become important, and also being true to yourself, you know, honoring yourself, being authentic, being in your integrity, those things have become important because you don't have the outside distractions anymore. All you have is really yourself, and we have time, and we have obviously goals. So, you know, we're forced to, I think, manage our time better during this lockdown and get things done, and do things that really need to be done, and things that you're genuinely passionate about.
I wonder how you manage your external distortions and how you're able to learn so many things in life.
Oh, you're so kind. I think I have always been someone who loves variety. So even when I was in school, I wanted to do everything. I was doing all kinds of classes, or I would, I would do sport and this and that. My family encouraged it. They didn't have an issue. They always said yes. I was big on the like extracurricular activities. I always enjoyed doing a lot of those. But then when I moved to university, the same thing. I got involved in, student politics, and I did a lot of charity work, as well as I was doing a lot of personal development, getting involved in different university councils, and very fortunate to have won a lot of awards when I was at uni as well because of that. And then when I started working in corporate world, I had other interests that had nothing to do with my work. I used to be an investment banker for a few years, but then I was a salsa dancer. I used to travel. I was writing. I was doing photography. I was doing modeling, brand ambassadorship, all of that good stuff. So I've always done many, many things, multi kind of faceted. That's worked for me. I can handle it. I've been very fortunate also to not have a day job. All my passions and my projects sort of support me financially, so I don't need to have a day job, because I think when you have a 9 to 5, you run out of time and energy to do all these other things. So you make a choice. It's not easy, but when it works, it really works. It pays off. I think in my case, it's always paid off.
So how do you connect entrepreneurship and technology? How do you
Oh,
think technology, sorry.
It's so important. I think now moving forward, all it is entrepreneurship and technology. No matter what sort of field you're in, I think technology itself is, we are, I think, valuing it more than ever before. I mean, I'm looking at the stock market. I'm looking at all of these brands and products that are in the tech, apps and the technology space, and it's booming. And even though other industries like hospitality, airlines, food industry, these have been completely really hurt all around the world, but technology hasn't. And if you have an app, you're busier than ever, and I feel that that's not changing. So I think that that's a great space to get into. And one can be an entrepreneur doing anything, but apps are the way to go. When you think about the top 10 brands, and you think about Facebook and social media, and you think these are apps. It's not a physical product, but it's worth billions. Why? Because it is a portal to bring the world together. So you have that. You don't get that with products. You never bring billions of people together with products, unless maybe it's a Coke or something like that. But that's one example. That you don't have too many examples of that. So I think moving forward, there will be more interesting apps, I'm sure, interesting ideas. But I think what Pratik was telling earlier, find a problem in the world that needs to be fixed. Get your solution for it, find the right solution for it, and kind of implement it, try it, make it happen. And then you have a case study, and then you shop around showcasing your case study with the results, and trust me, the money will come. That's how all of this works. I think people think it's the other way around. They think, let me go, I have an idea, I'm going to go pitch this idea, I'm going to get the billions, and then I'm going to come up with the solution, and then we're going to roll it out. And it doesn't work like that. It actually never worked like that. So it has to be, find the problem and then come up with the solution.
Which social media did you use mostly in your entrepreneurship journey that helped you the most?
Well, that's interesting because that's changed. I never used to be on Twitter up until this few months ago. I was like, I had never tweeted. I think I always used Facebook as my professional networking tool. I have a personal page, but I have like a public figure page on Facebook, which has a lot of followers or people who've subscribed. So that always used to be my networking tool. YouTube has always been good for me too, for some things, like to put up my content. But then there are other outlets too. I mean, LinkedIn is very good again for professional networking. But then when I got onto Twitter, I realized that it's very interactive, and you can reach out to the president, the prime minister, and you put out a tweet that has some truth to it. Trust me, you will get a response or you'll go viral. Every day, I think I have a tweet that kind of gets thousands of likes and retweets. It's happening more and more because I think I'm saying the right things. I say the thing and everyone is like, that's so true. So there's a lot of that going on. So I think Twitter has been good for me. I've enjoyed my Twitter experience a lot. But I'm Instagram. I was kind of big on it, and then I took a break, and now I'm getting back into it because I think it's also a good one because it's very instant, and it's quick and not so elaborate. So yeah.
So Twitter is the most reliable social media for you. So someone in chat section is like wondering to know about your experience in Miss India.
Oh wow, yes. So I got into this beauty pageant space very randomly. When I was in Sydney, Australia, there was a lady that I met her at some event, I think, and she just said, I organize a beauty event and you're an amazing person. You have, you're smart and you seem to be doing good work. You're involved in some charity. You're all about personal development. I think you have values. I think you're a good role model. Why don't you compete? Because you will get a great platform and you can do all the things that you're doing. You can showcase it. So I had no interest in that because I think I was always an academic. I didn't think much of beauty pageants, but she invited me to take part. I did very well there. I got a lot of press. And then somebody asked me to take part in theirs, and suddenly I competed in several, and then I won several too. So, it's a nice experience. I take it for what it is. It's not the most impressive thing I've done in my life. Not at all. It's not even in the list, I think, of the top 10. However, I think in America, they value it. I definitely hear if you're a beauty queen, it's, I think in India, it might be the same too. Not so much in other places, but, here, if you say you want a title for the rest of your life, you can sort of leverage off of that and get all sorts of things going on, So I learned that very quickly, and Hollywood kind of opened its doors to me, and it was all very kind of coincidence, but I said, yes, this is a great platform. But again, for me, I'll say, I was a former Miss India International, but it's always just been about platforms, I think, to do higher work for me and nothing more than that.
Was it hard for you to find business investors during your startups?
No, I think my my business partners or clients, investors, all of these, they came to me through mutual through professional networking, mutual friends, and also I think in my case it's been like when I've spoken at events or taken part at an event, conference or something like that, and someone has seen me speak or get up on stage and do something, then they come find me after and they introduce themselves, and that's when it all worked out for me. I think that's been my avenue. I think everybody has their own path, but the the most effective is when somebody sees you in action and they like what you're doing, and they like what they see, they like who you are. And that's how it's worked for me always.
Okay, it was very easy for you to find your investors, but normally people don't get good investors during their startups. So what do you want to say to those kind of people?
Oh, well, we've all had bad experiences. I've had many projects that never took off, or it sort of morphed into something else. I think finding um, co-business partners, co-founders is not easy. Sometimes you have the good idea, you have the money for it, you're passionate, it's a good deal, but then you team up with the wrong person and the whole thing flops. So it's not easy to get everything right. I would only say keep trying. There's 8 billion people out there, and there's a lot of entrepreneurs, and there's a lot of angel investors, and there is a lot of money out there, and there's today also big corporations are investing in people. Also, you have GoFundMe, you can raise money yourself. The people are raising money in all sorts of ways. I think the important thing is a good idea that actually solves a problem, actually, and then trust me, the money will come.
The money will come. So what does Omnia company really do?
It's a non-profit think tank that talks about or does research and brings awareness to global issues, international relations, geopolitics, so on. But I'm setting up some media arm to it, which includes research, because I think that's an area that we don't have enough people doing good research on some of these topics and international problems out there, which are affecting the world at large. So I think every good think tank has that, and they need an arm for the media, for journalists, and how do you bring all of this out into the public domain? You need sort of that vehicle.
So how do you deal with toxic things about spiritualities and dharmas?
That's such a great question, because we are seeing an assault on dharma. We are seeing people, and there's different groups, I think. It's not just one group, there's several groups of, sort of bad actors, I think, or like actors who are not good in good faith, and who obviously they have an issue, and they have an issue with dharma or what not, and there is an attack it comes in different forms. I think dharma is obviously very resilient. It's been around since the very beginning. It's going to be around until the very end of time, I think. But we are the keepers, we are the upholders of this amazing knowledge, so we must stand up for dharma and defend it, because I think it's if you don't, within no time you'll find yourself in a situation where it's eroded, it's gone, from the society. So we must be careful.
There's a question in the chat box about the dharma. Is spirituality the foundation of business? Like many spiritual gurus are launching their business in the name of spirituality. Also, is there a new guru, a Baba is popping up from India? What's your thought on this? How hard?
It's nuanced. There's nothing wrong with a guru who wants to set up a foundation. Obviously you have the Isha Foundation, you have Art of Living. These are huge international multi-million-dollar sort of institutions, non-profit. They do a lot of good work. I don't have a problem if somebody wants to set up, formalize their company and make it even profit, as long as they are bringing awareness, as long as they're doing charitable work, whether it's feeding children or whatever. I think every spiritual guru has his way of giving back. They all do, the good ones do. I don't have a problem with that. And some of them are even very transparent about this. As long as there's no personal ego involved, they're not doing it to become gazillionaires. It's genuinely they're creating this so that they can get more funds to do more work. That would be the ideal situation. I don't have an issue with that. There are some people, not just in India, but even here in the West, who they are setting up, schools or yoga studios or whatnot. It's only a business. It's just for money. That is, I think, karmically not sound. I have a problem with that. Um, and then the gurus popping up. If you're the real thing, I don't mind the more gurus, the merrier. Go around the world, spread dharma. But I think the problem is when they are not the real deal, and then they're distorting history. They are giving people a very different idea about dharma. Um, Even if the person is Indian, sometimes their idea of civilization and where all this came from, and it's kind of a little not the right knowledge. And some American who doesn't know much about this, they will listen to this person and believe them, and now everybody's misguided, and they have a very weird understanding of spirituality or dharma that is quite different from the truth.
So is it creating some kind of difficulties for some people like you who are truly into dharma than someone faking about dharma?
That's true. One question, what time is it now? Because I can't see the time. I have to leave at 3:50. So what time is it now?
It's only 43. I will inform you before 50.
Okay, so there's 7 more minutes. All right, go for it. Because I have to
So-
be on a news channel at 4 and it's live. So there's 5 minutes before 4. I want to be logged into them. So yeah.
In which new channel are you going to come live?
It's News X.
Okay, we would love to
It's a really good. You should check it out. It's quite a. They're online too, but they're also on in India. They're on TV, and they have a lot of viewers. And it's all geopolitics. And today we're going to be covering this horrific incident that happened in Paris. I'm sure you heard about it. So they want to talk about that, which is a kind of a very interesting event that has happened, and I think there'll be a lot of conversation around it for sure.
Before you leave, I want to ask questions from audiences. If anyone is interested to interact live with Miss Preity, you can just raise your hand and I will unmute you guys. So anyone who wants to ask question live? So there is someone called Anup Manchester. So can anyone unmute him?
Okay, let's see what he has to say.
Someone please unmute. I've unmuted him. I think he's having some problems. Or could you please ask questions if you have? Oh, sorry to this is I think disturbance.
Or type it.
Okay, so before you leave, Mr. Jai Kisan Panjyar, campus director at Hall Prize at IOE, wants to share something with you. Thank you so much, Miss Preity. That was a lovely talking to you. It was just incredible and beautiful. I'll miss you a lot after you leave.
Oh, thank you. Namaste. I'm so honored to share with you, and so nice to connect with you. And are you calling from Nepal right now?
Yeah, I'm in Nepal, and I'm in capital city of Nepal called Kathmandu.
I've never been there. It's one of the few places I haven't been to, so I must come there. Next time I go to India, I will come, because I've been wanting to come for a very, very long time, but never had the opportunity to do so. So it's on my list of countries to visit next, for sure.
And I'm sure you will not forget Hall Prize at IOE team, and you will surely be going to miss us if you come Nepal.
I will absolutely visit you. My privilege to connect with all of you then.
Thank you so much, Miss Preity. So, Mr. Jackson Pandya, what do you have to say to Miss Preity?
Yeah. Thank you, ma'am, first of all, for being with us. Actually, at Hall Prize, we are on a mission to lead the generation to change the world. So actually, thanks for contributing to our mission, and thanks for working together with youngsters, the people small age and being here it was really, like we are actually honored to to hear from you actually, ma'am. It was really great time being here too. So, and actually, I have my one friend, Mr. Biplab Karki, and he's really big fan of you, ma'am, and he wants to speak with you right now.
Okay, please,
It's,
let's do it.
No. Hello, ma'am. So, thank you so much for accepting our invitation in such a
Oh,
short
namaste.
period.
Hello. I'm so nice to connect with you finally.
Yeah, finally we got to see each other. So,
Yes.
thank you so much even for managing your time just by informing our day before. Like many of us knew that she was busy till yesterday, and we called her at midnight at her time at around 12:01 to inform her to come to the event, and still she accepted. So, thank you so much, and really hope that we'll really meet for sure someday.
Oh, thank you. I thank you for inviting me. I'm so honored. I know it happened a short, but that this is how magical things happen. This is how things happen, you know. You must be open to life and all opportunities for sure.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. I hope you have a great rest of the event and a beautiful, beautiful weekend. And I hope you're safe in Nepal and you know you're blessed and the hopefully the dharma is intact.
Exactly.
Thank
So
you
I
Promise
so
to
think
much.
be
Like, let's
intact.
take a selfie before she leaves.
Okay, let's take a selfie. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. I took it. It was a great time with Miss Pretty. So anyone, if you want certificates, then fill the feedback form. The link is provided in the chat box. Okay, so link has been provided in the chat box. Thank you, Miss Pretty Upala. Now
Thank
we
you.
have to
Namaste.
wave you goodbye. Thank you for
Bye.
joining us. And thanks to all of the audiences joining us today. If you want certificates, you have to fill the feedback form. And please fill the feedback form. The link is provided in the chat box.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, all of you.
thank you guys. Thank you guys for being with us. Thanks for joining.
Thank you, everyone. Happy Dasai.
Thank you for joining us, everyone. That was a great time with all of you. Oh, God.
I guess everyone who has filled the form may just leave the chat.